Hello friends. Today in the English Literature and Literary Terms series we will talk about sonnets, the history of sonnets and the construct of the sonnets. Sonnet is a lyric poem of about 14 lines with a formal rhyme scheme expressing different aspects of a single thought, mood or feeling resolved or summed up in the last lines of the poem. Originally, these were short poems accompanied by mandolin or lute music. These were sung in Italy. In English, sonnets are generally composed in iambic pentameter. We will talk about the iambic pentameters later in the next series. Let's talk about the origin of sonnet. The two main forms of the sonnet are the Petrarchan or the Italian and English or the Shakespearean sonnet. Petrarchan sonnet probably developed from the stanza form of the canzone or from Italian folk song, which was being sung with the accompaniment of music like lute, etc. The form reached its peak with the Italian poet Petrarch, whose canzonia includes 317 sonnets addressed to his beloved Laura. Thomas Waite and Earl of Surrey are credited with introducing the sonnet into English with translations of Italian sonnets as well as with their own sonnets. Now let's talk about the types of sonnets. The Petrarchan sonnet consists of an octave, which is an 8-line stanza, and a sestet or 6-line stanza. The octave has 2 quatrains, rhyming ABBA, ABBA. The second stanza develops the theme initiated in the first stanza. The sestet is built on 2 or 3 different rhymes arranged either CDE, CDE or CDC, DCD or CDE, ECD. The first 3 lines exemplify the theme and the last 3 lines bring the whole poem to a unified close. Among great examples of the Petrarchan sonnet in English language are Sir Philip Sidney's sonnet sequence Astrophel and Stella, which established the form in England. There, in the Elizabethan age, sonnet reached the peak of its popularity. English sonnet is exemplified by the works of Shakespeare or Edmund Spenser's Emerite. This form differs from the Petrarchan in being divided into 3 quatrains, each rhymed differently and with a final independently rhymed couplet that makes an effective unifying climax to the whole. The rhyme scheme is AB, AB, CD, CD, EF, EF and GG in the last couplet. The journey of sonnet. In the 17th century, the sonnet tradition continued in England with an expansion of the type of subject matter treated. Whereas the 16th century sonnet dealt primarily with love, Shakespeare, although gave it a philosophical touch, John Donne wrote a series of holy sonnets, and the sonnets of John Milton, written in English and Italian, concern politics, religion and personal matters. Milton's sonnets are based on the Petrarchan form. They differ slightly in not having a break in the sense between the octave and the sestet. This resulted in an even greater cohesiveness of structure. It was Milton who added autobiographical element to the sonnet. After Milton, however, the popularity of the sonnet form in English declined somewhat until the end of the 18th century, when the Romantic poets gave it a new life. In the Restoration era, we don't have popularly written sonnets. Although outstanding sonnets were also written by the contemporaries Coleridge, Shelley, Keats, yet William Wordsworth is regarded as the finest sonnet writer of the period. Other sonnet writers in the Victorian period are Rossetti, Browning, Arnold, Hopkins. The works of Hopkins is marked by radical variation in the traditional sonnet form. For example, his 11-line sonnet Pied Beauty uses sprung rhythm and begins with a sestet concluding with a quatrain and a very short final line. The sonnet form has proved adaptable to 20th century themes and diction. The Austro-German poet Rainer Maria Rilke wrote what is considered one of the greatest of modern sonnet sequences. Sonnets to Orpheus. This is his sonnet sequence. Robinson and Eleanor Weil are noted 20th century American sonnetiers. The Anglo-American W.H. Auden wrote the distinguished sonnet sequence from China, as well as numerous individual sonnets. This is enough for today. We will discuss other topics tomorrow. Thank you. Thank you very much for listening attentively. Thank you.